Welcome back, watch enthusiasts. Today we are looking at the iconic Vostok Komandirskie. Let's start with the unboxing of the watch. It comes with a plain white box which is shown in a very sturdy cardboard white box. And once you open it, you are shown the user manual. This user manual is in multiple different versions. On the front you see the one in English. Interestingly, it shows www.gagarin.watch, and down below you see that it's a self-winding watch and how to wind it and how not to wind it and how to set the date and time and everything. So it's pretty interesting. I wouldn't go too much into detail about this. Other than the user manual, you have the watch itself in its own box. The box is quite sturdy and it's very colorful, and on the top it is written Komandirskie in Russian and a few other branding details. Other than that, it's relatively simple and it shows it's made in Russia. So opening it is like this, and you will see the watch resting on its usual presentation area, and you can take the watch out and the watch out of the box. So these are the things that you would expect in the box for the Komandirskie. And underneath, so you see few more details which was written on the outside, and it's written in Russian on the inside as well. So this is on the operating procedure for the watch, like winding, how to wind, how to set the date and everything. The next step would be peeling off the protective sticker on the top. Yes, this watch doesn't have a sapphire crystal, so it does only sport acrylic domed crystal, and the case itself is made out of brass, which is electroplated, and more on that later. The actual watch out of the box. First of all, let's talk about the crystal on this watch. The crystal on this Vostok Komandirskie is a domed acrylic crystal, and although it's not as scratch resistant as a sapphire crystal, it is durable to some extent, and it lends a vintage charm to this watch. And especially when you look at this watch from an angle, you can see the distortion that is happening on the dial, and it gives a very nice effect when you look at it from certain angles. You can see the hands bend in some ways and it looks good. Next would be the bezel that surrounds this crystal, and as you can see, it's a bidirectional bezel and it's a friction based bezel compared to other unidirectional bezels, and which has like 60 clicks or 120 clicks. This bezel does not have any clicking mechanism, and it just rotates, providing a little bit of friction when you move it in either of the direction. I wouldn't suggest this to be used for any of the serious diving purposes wherein you would be relying on a bezel to time your dives when you're going to the depths. And of course, this watch is not rated for any diving activities, snorkeling activities, or even swimming. So it would be better suited on the wrist when you are going for any normal occasions like any formal events where you can expect a slight amount of splashes on the dial and on the watch. Additionally, just to give you a few more details on this bezel, they have a dot which shows the 12th hour index or the full circle of the bezel. And as you can see, you have 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50 markers, with 10 through 30 being in black and the others 40, 50 being in the red color, and the dot shown in the red color. And this gives you a good amount of distinguishing mechanism for you to see at a glance what time to set and what time you are intending to hit for. I see that anything beyond 30 minutes would be a little bit on the higher end, so they went to provide you a little bit of a hinting on that closing to what you are expecting to reach at the end. That's a nice touch actually. The dial on the watch is pretty interesting, and as you can see, it features a star which is in bold red outlined by a white line on all the sides, and it looks good. All of the Komandirskie watches from Vostok uh, usually have a red star on the dial. Below the red star on the dial, you see the Vostok logo, and even below that, you would be able to see an outline of a submarine. I'm not sure if you're able to see it properly as it's hidden by the hands of the watch. There is a submarine logo, and there is one small bird near the submarine. And even below that, you would see the Komandirskie written on it. And there's a nice touch that they've added near the 6th hour index, showing an anchor, and below that you would see the made in Russia. Correct me if I'm wrong, it's something which says that it's made in Russia or Russian made. I'll add a couple of shots which shows the dial in much more clarity and much more close up than what you're seeing here. But all in all, it's a very beautiful looking dial, and also has enough number of lume pits or lume dots surrounding the hour indices all around the dial. And you see two small lume dots which is above the star, and one place or a couple of places where you'd see the lume dots being missed out is near the 3rd hour marker and near the 6th hour marker. Everywhere else you would see some lume, and even on the hands, the stick shaped hands also feature a good amount of lume. I will add a better lume video at the end, wherein you can see how it fades out from the time it is charged, and around 15 to 20 minutes, how much it actually holds up the lume. Let's talk about the dimensions of this watch. The case measures around 39 mm in diameter, as you can see from my caliper, and the lug width measures 18 mm. Though it's not a strap monster, but you would be able to find a significant amount of straps on the market, but it's not as easy to find as you would do for a 20 mm lug width or 22 mm lug width. The lug to lug distance, it is around 45 mm. Though it's not too shabby, it's still pretty neat compared to the dimensions of this watch. I'll show you a better look on the wrist, and the thickness of this watch measures around 11.9, or you can say 12 mm, and it doesn't have a rotor, so it's a hand winding watch, so that also helps it to maintain a lesser thickness. I'll show you a shot of the movement of the watch. As the name suggests, this watch was built for the commanders, Russian commanders, and it is supposed to take a beating. And the movement powering this watch is Vostok's 2414A movement, and it is a hand winding movement. You don't have a rotor, so every day you need to wind it in order to maintain the power reserve. And it's a screw down crown, and once you screw to remove the crown from its position or move the crown from its position, you will be able to set the time and date, and also you will be able to wind the watch. So it's relatively simple. Once you screw it down, you will be able to rotate in this direction, which is the clockwise direction. Keep rotating it until you reach a point where you feel some kind of a resistance from the watch, which from at that point onwards, it won't allow you to wind any further. So until then, you would be able to wind your watch gently, and as you can see, I have reached that point and it doesn't go any further. And one thing that every user or customer have noticed from this watch is that it's a little bit wobbly. It is supposed to be wobbly, they designed it like that, and it is meant to take a hit and not break the stem or the movement if it gets banged when it is loose, when this crown is loose. So don't worry about it. And as in all the other watches, if you want to set the time, just pull it out once by moving it across. And one thing to note about this watch is that it doesn't have a quick set mechanism, and if you need to change the date at any time, you may need to move it back and forth. Now you see the date jumped from the previous date to the next one. So if I have to change the date further, I may go back
and go forward. Again, it jumped one position. So if you want to see it in a better way, I will show it like this. I am going back a couple of hours, maybe until 7 or 8, and then going forward. You see, it jumped. So this is how you would set the date on this watch. There is no other way to set the date. It doesn't feature a quick set mechanism. So don't worry about damaging the movement. As long as you change it gently, it should last for a while, and it is supposed to take a lot of beating. Talking about the strap that the watch comes with, usually earlier they used to provide the customers a different strap which was not that good looking, that much of a good quality, but it seems that they have improved it to a good extent, and it's a calf leather strap, I guess, but it is okay kind of a strap. So if you want to have a better strap, I would suggest to swap it out with anything that is available in the market, and your watch would look even better with the swapped out strap. And I don't get a good feeling on the holders or the buckle holders in the strap, and it may fail at any time. I had the previous watch with me which actually failed in this area, and I replaced it with a strap that I chose from the options available in the market. So what are my final thoughts on this Vostok Komandirskie? Overall, I'm thoroughly impressed with the build quality, design and performance. Whether you are a seasoned collector or a beginner, the Vostok Komandirskie offers great value for money. And this wraps up our review for Vostok Komandirskie. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more watch related content. Until next time, take care and keep on ticking.